Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Hello, buddy.
Sorry, mate. How you doing? You caught me. I'm I'm part way down, so I hope you've got one. Oh, you got one.
I've just literally opened. I mean, you're well ahead. Oh,
Yeah, well, I just catch up then. No.
Is that how you prepare for talking to me for an hour? You get some.
It's lubrication, mate. It's not, it's not any need for the alcohol to get through the conversation. I look forward to these moments of joy with you. Of course I do.
Absolutely, mate. And do you know what? We're coming to a point now where obviously things are starting to resume. Life is starting to be a bit more normal, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to this continuing regardless.
We're going to keep on going with this, mate. No, I mean,
absolutely.
I know we'll have just think when we can get out more and do more, we'll have so much more to talk about.
Absolutely,
so much more to bring to the table. Yeah,
actually, absolutely. So, and speaking of, what have you brought to the table this week? What have you been up to?
Well, strange enough, it's been quite a quiet week. Actually.
All right. Oh, no.
I am not bringing that much to the table. No, I've had a week of line learning. I've kind of locked into learning the script for the filming. And then when that's done, that is done and dusted. Just wait then with bated breath for the finished article to arrive. So I've been just polishing up the lines. I've had a Zoom casting midway through the week, which was an urgent, like, in, out, do it. Have you got it? No, I didn't. Oh. So that was fine. But I've not done many of those, actually. I've done the sort of self-tape, but I've not done many Zoom actually online auditioning, which is quite odd. But that has been
unusual, isn't it? I actually did one just before we started recording today, and it's some of the stuff you do, and you kind of think, well, if I was there in person, I'd be able to show you a lot more. But I'm kind of sat here in front of my computer, so I can only do so much. But hey, if they like it, they like it. So
they like it. Yeah. Yeah. Do you find that it's kind of compensating because they're going, yeah, we're really sorry to make you rearrange your lounge, and and I'm very sorry about the really bad bookcase behind me, but hi, I'm the casting director. It's just really weird.
Do you know? I think it puts us all on a level playing field. You're not in that audition room with some scary people sat behind a table with their notepads ready. It's just a Zoom call. I quite like
it. Everyone's just as mad. So apart from the audition, what else have you had on, mate?
So I've done my usual. I've had a fair bit of voiceover work, and actually, as you know, I've spent quite a lot of this week upgrading some of our tech equipment. Drewling Samantics is because people must know. Obviously, we don't only speak once off on a week to do an episode. We do have some production meetings now and then, and this week we went into sort of the techie depths and terrified you with some tech words and things, but we've managed to upgrade some bits. So hopefully going forward it will make things a little bit easier.
Yes. What does that mean, and how do I plug it in? Is usually what you hear from me.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I tell you what, main thing this week for me has been excited about this episode because we get to speak to the amazing Julianne Watling-McCarthy. So and obviously you've not met her before. You know about her and you know about the venue.
Lots about her. A lot of what you've told me as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough to work with her, work at the venue on several occasions. I was in Rock of Ages at the Stage Door, which is her venue, which was an incredible show. I also performed in Pageant there, which is a musical about drag performers, which I've mentioned before on the show. And I've had other involvement there. I've done a bit of filming there and various other things, and a lot of my friends and colleagues from back home and people that I've worked with previously have worked there as well. And it is just the most incredible venue. It's so unique, and it was so needed for Southampton, for the area. I think that Julianne and her team have done incredible things there, and she is an amazing person. She's done wonderful things for all sorts of different outlets, be it music or theatre or whatever in that local area. I can't wait to speak to her and find out just how the unwelcome guest has kind of affected and what she's done to sort of overcome that.
Yeah.
So,
looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And well, we won't have to wait any longer. Look, here she is. Hello.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Sorry, Drew, meet Julianne. Julianne, meet
Hi,
Drew.
Julianne. Nice to meet you.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So, ladies and gentlemen at home, please meet Julianne, owner, creative director, superstar of the Stage Door Theatre in Southampton. And we are honoured to have you with us because it's been a long time since I've seen you. We last worked together many years ago. And obviously not met Drew before, but very aware of each other's careers, etc., etc. But we're excited because it's going to be brilliant for the guys at home to be able to hear a completely new perspective, a completely different sort of side of things about, as we call it, our unwelcome guest and how that has affected the industry from someone who owns and runs a venue. So thank you for coming on and looking forward to chatting.
Welcome.
But yeah, so I guess first of all, can you tell us a little, or tell everyone at home a little bit about yourself, how you got started and what exactly the Stage Door is?
Okay, yeah. So my background originally was performing. So I went to drama school and then I moved back from London back to Southampton, and I just always wanted to open a fringe venue in the city, just because obviously the amount of them that you've got up in London, there was never anything like that down here. So foolishly, I had this dream about opening a fringe theatre because since being at drama school, I kind of moved more towards the production side of things with writing and producing and things like that. And then I went back to uni and did a screenwriting degree, and then I wrote a play for a theatre company that I was doing some work with. So I was kind of more from on that side of the fence rather than on stage. So I just, when me and my husband got together, I just told him, poor thing, about this dream that I'd had. And we knew the owners of the venue at the time because my husband had a security company and he used to provide their door staff. And I just said, that would be like the perfect sort of venue with the pub downstairs and the theatre upstairs. So we just ended up speaking to the owners, and they were at a point where it had been the Soul Cellar, which had been a live music venue. They opened in about 2000. So it was a well-established grassroots music venue at the time. But I think, like with anything in this industry, it's a hard road. And I think they got to a point where they felt like they needed some sort of new inspiration and a different path, as it were. So we kind of pitched the idea to them and went into the business with them, but invested so that we could refurb it into a fringe theatre and stuff like that. But and then as that journey progressed, they ended up leaving the business and we took over the whole venue. So that was in 2015.
Wow. So you're 6 years old, 5-6 years old now.
We are, yeah.
Hello, nice to meet you. I've heard loads about you and loads about the venue. Do you have a sort of, you say you write and is new writing, is there a USP for the Stage Door? Is there anything unique or whatever about it?
It is now. I feel like the USP now is that it's more cabaret, comedy and sort of LGBT focused, with a lot of live music, which has definitely over the last sort of year or so, that is, our programming of live music has definitely increased and there's been a real appetite for that. But I think, my vision for it to start with was more of a fringe venue that would be more of a theatre and have touring sort of companies before Edinburgh and that kind of thing. And we did have a fair bit of that to start with, but unfortunately just never got the audiences out to sort of warrant that. It would just felt like that wasn't something that Southampton really wanted at the time. So that was a real struggle to kind of program smaller shows and touring shows and one woman or one man shows and things like that. And then for them not to have any audience or very few. So quickly we kind of looked at what else we could put in the venue, and it seemed like there was a real appetite for stuff like burlesque shows and drag shows and cabaret and variety. And we have Manford's Comedy Club, which is Jason Manford's brand, so it's like they support, you know, up and coming comedians but fairly well established ones, but it's and they have comedy clubs throughout the country, mainly up north, but we approached them soon after we opened, and so they've been there since day one, and that's now something that sort of sells out most months and has, you know, is really popular. And then again, so the live music is quite popular, and then we have our adult panto is probably our longest running show of the year. We do that over about 5 weeks over the Christmas period.
Nice.
We went in with that before we took the venue over. We went in with like a smaller version of an adult panto, just to say, you know, this is what's coming, and that kind of thing. And now we've got to a point where we have like a real strong audience for that. And I think, again, that was something a bit different for the city when we brought that in. So yeah, I think there's such a wide range of stuff that we do.
Have you, it sounds like you found a gap in the market, something that the city needed, and have followed that. Is that how you've seen the way it's gone? You've kind of filled that gap.
So. I mean, we always had that vision that it would be like a sort of old-fashioned sort of cabaret type, you know, underground sort of venue. Flashing back to like the Moulin Rouge and those sorts of things. I think, you know, that was definitely the intention for it. But I think we do a lot more than I sort of first anticipated that we would. And like we've had some great musicals there. We've had some fairly big musicals in a small space that have worked really well. And I think we're only in Rose, we're only 130 maximum. So it's a very intimate setting. So even if even if things aren't packed to the rafters, even with sort of a smaller audience, you still get that really nice sort of
intimacy,
atmosphere and intimacy. And I think that's what's unique about us, and that's why we get a lot of repeat custom coming back.
Brilliant. There is, I mean, I'm sorry, Sam.
No, I was just going to say it actually it sits really appropriately with one of the main things we wanted to ask you about how obviously the unwelcome guest has affected venues and performers, and the fact that the majority or some of the most popular shows that you host are cabaret shows leads well into that, because obviously it can often be set as intimate tables rather than road seating or tiered seating that you might get in other venues. You can set it out as separate tables, and I would assume that is something that going forward, now that theatres are coming back and you're able to have patrons in again, that's something that's going to be able to help you going forward and allowing people to come in, because it can be set out in a much safer way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was always has gone in our favour since this whole thing has started, because when we were allowed to have indoor performance again, socially distanced, we were able to do that and set that up in a cabaret style seating, yes, with reduced capacity, but still in an environment that the audience could feel like they were experiencing something close to normal. So yeah, our adult panto Christmas Just Gone was set up in that way, with just 50 people in the audience and set up in a socially distanced around tables layout. But that worked really well. And I mean, in an ideal world, it'd be nice to be able to offer shows with that sort of luxury of having table service and lots of space and all the rest of it. But I think, financially, the realistic side of the business is that you just can't can't fund a show on 50 tickets at, between 10 and 18 pounds is sort of our price point. So
at the risk of reducing a venue owner to tears, I mean, Sam and I have discussed how the unwelcome guest, just pull the rug from under everyone's feet.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, we discussed how we've survived work-wise and we've not really sort of discussed too much about finances, but we both had grants and picked up little bits of work. But for yourself, what was What has kept you going? I mean, you know, what support have you had? I mean, I know that lots of people just go, it's a venue, you'll just be able to start up again. But we know that's not true.
Yeah.
So what help has there been there for you?
So we've been really fortunate, actually, from a sort of funding perspective. We were lucky enough to get a emergency grant from the Arts Council, which was to support grassroots music venues, and because we fall within that category as well, we managed to get some support from them, and that was quite early on last summer. And then following that, we were then able to apply for the Culture Recovery Fund. So we were lucky enough to be successful in round 1 and 2 of that, and that basically has covered the running costs of the business, staffing, you know, rent, those kind of things. So that is, without those, I'm pretty sure we would just have had to close the doors, because, you know, it, with the venue being closed, there's still a massive amount of overheads. It's not that much cheaper for us to remain closed than it is to open. Do you know what I mean? That
I do.
It's only staffing costs really that increases. So but I think, you know, without these funds available, venues like us definitely would have closed their doors, and I know of many that have. And unfortunately, the grant application process is quite involved. If you haven't done it before, if you don't already have an existing relationship with the Arts Council, that kind of thing, I think, you know, that can be quite daunting and quite challenging for people, especially a small organisation where you don't have somebody who is paid year round to write grant applications and deliver those. You know, that is quite a, from sort of an artistic point of view, it's not an artistic process. So it's definitely challenging. So
I mean, it sounds very simple that you apply for a grant, but I mean, quite simply, it's hours of work of sitting in front of a computer, filling the damn things out.
Hours, and then of stuff not making any sense. Like, spreadsheets are just my worst nightmare. I'm not a spreadsheet person, and like having to forecast a spreadsheet for the whole business, you know, every penny in and out for the next, you know, 12 months. It's like, what are you doing to me?
We all got into this business so we didn't have to deal with spreadsheets and writing documents.
Exactly.
I mean, I know from a personal point of view of just applying for, you know, small grants, not necessarily for this period of time, but other times of applying for an Arts Council grant, and then having to tick every single box. You get it wrong, and it just comes flipping back, and you go, what have I answered wrong? What T haven't I crossed? You know, what I haven't I dotted? And then,
the character count for a question, you might have a question that's split into 2 parts, and you've got to divide the character count. So you're having to, you know, copy and paste it into another thing to check how many characters are in it. And then it says, oh no, there's too many words. And, you know, it's those sorts of things on top of dealing with this whole situation, on top of homeschooling, which is more challenging than filling in an Arts Council application. You know, and I think I can understand why people didn't apply for stuff, or didn't maybe know how to, or that it was even available. I think because we're part of the Music Venue Trust as a venue, so we had a lot of support from them, and were pushed by sort of our regional coordinators and stuff like that to make sure we were submitting drafts to get feedback on, and, you know, hours and hours of webinars, sort of hand holding and walking you through the process. I think without that, I honestly don't think we'd have got a successful grant.
It did feel when I mean, I was in the middle of rehearsals for a tour. I mean, I know Sam was planning and had work and everything, and you know, obviously you've got upcoming shows, productions. It did feel like, like I said, the rug was pulled under and then there was nothing. There was a whole big black hole of what does one do. Obviously, no one knew because it was unprecedented, but also there was a very slow process of being able to you know, as you say, to work out where you were going to go. Personally, I didn't know. I mean, I just sat on the sofa for a couple of weeks and read a book until I went, okay, I think I could do this. But you can't do that with a venue, you know.
No, and I think it was like you say at the start, there wasn't sort of, it was as if the arts were just kind of pushed to one side and everything else was dealt with. And I know, you know, it isn't possible to deal with everything at once, but I think for those of us in this industry, it was really unnerving to start with. It was like, you know, is there even going to be an industry left when we do come back? You know, not just from a venue point of view, but from you know, will performers and freelancers and sound technicians and lighting people, will they still be around, or will they have had to go and work for somebody else and not, you know, and then gone, well, actually, I prefer the sort of certainty of a normal job, and then sort of left the arts altogether. So I think it was really unnerving for a good few months, I think, before more.
I mean, I certainly saw, I mean, I've got a cousin who runs a venue, is a associate director of a fringe venue, and she said they sat there with calculators looking to literally, can we survive tomorrow? You know, can we survive? And I know, I mean, I did that personally. I was sitting there going, okay, I'm going to sit and work a budget out and blah.
Yeah.
And I know where I'm going now. Have you, from, you know, I mean, you've got stuff coming up, and you said, you know, have you had to sort of think what productions, what things you can do, you know, given the fact you're going to have a modified audience for a while? And I mean, how are you able to run as a audience wise? I mean, what you know, what are you going to be able to offer?
So I think for the first, like when we can reopen inside at the end of May, I think that will be in a similar setup to how we opened back in sort of October and December, with 50 people distance around tables. And obviously we only then are assuming that we'll be back up to full capacity at the end of June, beginning of July. But obviously we don't really know if that's going to happen. So again, we're sort of programming in the dark a bit, but I just feel like there isn't much choice. We could, as a small organisation, we can't plan for every eventuality. So we kind of just have to plan to those guidelines and, you know, really hope that they come off this time, because I think that's a real challenge, is booking things in, planning them with enough time, paying deposits, you know, and then comes with having to cancel and change everything is just the sheer amount of admin of rearranging performers, audiences, you know. Then you look at from a venue point of view, you've ordered stock's going out of date, you can't get money back for staff, you know. I think without the sort of government support we've had, there's just no way we would even be looking at what we'll be putting on. You know, if we'd managed to sort of survive to this point, I think we'd just be mothballing until everything had been released and that we could actually realistically program. But, you know, that's what the Arts Council grant is there for, is to get people back to work and hopefully get people on stage and in venues.
I mean, I know we've all, I mean, I had a good bitch about, you know, how we were sidelined as performers. No idea. And I know, and you know, we all know people that have gone, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I think there will be a load of people that don't make it back into the business. It's made some people cynical. Has it made you? Do you think you're a little bit more cynical about the arts now? Do you think you're just as?
Are you in love with things, Drew? What's all this about? You're in a grumpy mood.
Me? No, it's because. I mean, I'm hoping to get some production together with my wife, my partner. We're producing, you know, on a very much smaller scale than yourself, but encountering exactly the same considerations of, like, you know, we're planning to do events outside, and you think, well, how many can we have here? How many can we have there? You know, and it makes you go, oh, sod it, we'll just do that, and we won't do that. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like because we've been trying to do stuff for so long, I feel like there's a real urge to have people back in the venue and have performance on. And so it's not made me cynical about the arts. It's made me maybe more cynical about other things in this country, but not about the people that we work with and the stuff that we try and bring to people and audiences and all that interaction and experience. Not about that now, I don't think.
I think that's actually on that note, obviously early days into when everything started going wrong in the country and in the world, there was no idea for any of us in the industry that there would be grants or would be support from the government. And you say that certainly haven't been cynical about performers, because I think the support across the board, when you look at us as a community of performers and venues, I think that's been incredible, the support we've given each other. And actually, a small mention, and people should go onto the Stage Door Facebook and look back through, because I'm pretty sure the videos are still on there. But early days, we did sort of Stage Door hosted, or Adam Myers, who's a local director of amateur theatre, runs a local theatre company in Southampton. He hosted sort of like an online cabaret show, or a couple of online cabaret shows, to help raise money for the stage door in the interim. And I just think the camaraderie of all local performers or people that have been involved with the stage door, past and present, I think it was incredible. And it just showed that despite perhaps at that stage we hadn't had any support, or it was very difficult and we didn't know what the future looked like, people were still rallying and still trying to sort of encourage and support each other. And it was really, really refreshing.
Yeah, no, it was great. And those online shows that we did were, fantastic way of engaging with our audiences and our performers, but trying to keep a sort of community spirit alive. And obviously it did help fundraise. I mean, not massive amounts by any means, but definitely contributed to the costs that we had at the time. And I just think, just knowing that those people were thinking about the venue, but also maybe giving people a bit of an outlet to perform, because they weren't able to, get up on stage and do anything, but also facilitating that and maybe reaching people that we might not have done before. That was just really nice. And we did a few like online live music gigs and stuff that were streamed live from the venue. But again, with that, with all of that online stuff, as I'm sure with your podcast and stuff, comes challenges, like technical challenges that no one knows how to handle, and internet and Facebook and all the rest of it, so it's quite, I think when you're used to doing live stuff, when that's taken out of your hands, it's actually more terrifying than doing, having an audience in and hoping for the best. Like when you're online and you're just at somebody's mercy, it's like
you have absolutely no control. My wife has a show that she put online, and it was great. You sit there and you're doing the Zoom show and you see sort of one or two, and you think, oh, that's a bit disappointing, and then someone else doing, and you go, oh god, and then you're going, I'm controlling this. It's terrifying to think that. With a push of the button, you get all, boom, they disappeared. Oh shit! It's great.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
Scary, but I find all the technical side actually to theatre quite scary. Like if I'm standing in the tech box in the venue and someone tells me to do something to a light or raise a fader or whatever, I just start getting nervous. I'm not.
I've just got your battery is running low, appeared on the front of my computer. I'm going to have to go and get my power lead.
You need to get your power lead.
I'm going to get the power lead.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm going to leave that way, and then I'll come back in that way with my power lead in a moment. And you're going to hear me scrabbling around. This is live podcast.
It almost looks like we're just go and do it. Go on, get out. It almost looks like we're hurry up. It almost looks like we're planning this, and we are absolutely not. This is there's no better advert for live theatre venues and how things can go wrong than having Drew on a podcast and him not plugging things in. Yeah, brilliant. This is So to all our lovely listeners and watchers out there, we apologise that currently you're looking at two lovely people and a sofa vibrating for some reason while Drew plugs himself in. But anyway, so obviously we are all on the edge of our seats and really excited that, fingers crossed, we're going to ignore the fact you've come back. Stop grinning.
Oh, okay.
That's
Thank you, Julianne.
Don't encourage him.
Shut up, Sam. Go on.
We're really excited that hopefully theatre is going to start approaching something more familiar over the coming weeks and months. So in that vein, what have you got coming up at the Stage Door? What should everyone be excited about?
So we've got a fair few things booked in for May and June, which will be distanced sort of cabaret style, 50 people in. So we've got some really good live music gigs coming up. A few bands have been booked in. They're all on our What's On section of our website. And then we've got our first drag brunch back is going to be bank holiday weekend, May bank holiday Sunday. So that's a great show. That's like you get afternoon tea and bottomless cocktails and lots of drag performance. So that's a really good one. And then we've got an amazing artist called Velma Celli, who has been doing shows with us since we first opened. Actually, I saw her originally at the Edinburgh Fringe doing a show with an impersonator singer called Christina Bianco, who's quite well known. They were doing a show together, And so I then contacted Velma and asked if she brings some shows to the Stage Door, and we've kind of had her ever since. So she is doing a new show that she's putting together for a Fringe tour, Edinburgh, Perth Fringe, I think, taken out to America, called Irreplaceable, which is a show that is inspired by the work of David Bowie. And it's how he inspired other artists. So it's going to be sort of like a work in progress show over the week, and with sort of some audience feedback and things like that. But I believe she's doing some well-known Bowie songs, but then also mixed in with some more current songs by artists that he's inspired since. Amazing. So that sounds quite exciting. So we're looking forward to that. Is the 16th, 17th and 18th of June. And then we have our first musical back is going to be Soho Cinders, which is in July. And that is with Musical Theatre South, who's one of the local amateur musical societies who we've had quite a lot of shows at the venue over the years with, and they always do a fantastic show. So that should be a good one. We've got coming back in August, we've got Kerry Ellis is doing a show with us, a really well-known West End performer. She came and did a show with us, I think, in our first or second year. We've not had her back since, but have tried to get her back, but she's always been doing tours with Brian May and off on things like that. And I think she's just about to go on the new Cats tour. And we had her booked in, but we couldn't do the show because of lockdown. So we've luckily managed to be able to reschedule that for the 6th of August.
Brian May, I mean, honestly, obviously the guy needs support, you know. He just needs support, doesn't he? Honestly.
Well, I said to her, would you think Brian would come and do a show with us? I think that would be quite a nice one, wouldn't it? The stage along, but yeah, that's not been confirmed. So still working away now.
It's not been confirmed, but it hasn't been turned down.
Exactly.
Well, no, I've not had a definite no from him.
Yeah.
No. So I'm taking that as a positive.
Yeah, perfect. But either way, huge amounts of exciting things coming up. So we're all massive fingers crossed.
Our comedy club starts again in July. So Manford's Comedy starts in July, and then we've got that scheduled for the rest of the year. We've got an amazing show called Solve Along a Murder, She Wrote, which is like a murder mystery, Murder, She Wrote themed show, interactive. And so we've had Tim, who runs that, has been doing those sort of 3-4 times a year at the venue. So he's starting those up again.
Incredible.
Lots of bands coming in. And we've got some burlesque shows booked in. So yeah, I mean, it's all very recent, the programming. So it's been over the last sort of couple of weeks. So not everything is confirmed yet, but we're getting there to program sort of to the end of September time.
Brilliant. And I suppose in which case that leads us nicely. And Drew will say here that I love a segue. I do love a nice, smooth.
You are very good at them, Sam. Yeah.
I do.
What happens in the edit?
But so not only have you got some amazing shows coming up, but you've also incredibly kindly given us some tickets to give away. So some of our lucky listeners or viewers on YouTube will be able to win some tickets. So first up, we've got, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we've got 4 tickets, a 4-seat table to Velmacelli's David Bowie show, and that's in June. And then also we got a further 2 tickets to Soho Cinders in July. So if you are listening or watching and want to win those, and why wouldn't you? I'm now going to try and explain, without cocking it up, how you enter our competition. So it is very, very simple. He says, fingers crossed. First of all, you need to be subscribed to the podcast and listening to this episode. Obviously, you've already done that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening now. So that's a nice, easy one ticked off already. Then you need to go onto Instagram and you need to follow the Stage Door and you need to follow Drewling Samantics. So follow both of us on Instagram. And then this episode is now live. So there will be an image of our lovely 3 mugs saying episode 8 or whatever the tagline is underneath for this episode. You need to find that image, like that image on Drewling Samantics Instagram, and also then comment underneath with either Velma, if you want to enter for the 4 tickets for the Velmacelli show, or Soho if you want to enter for the 2 tickets for the Soho Cinders show. Or if you're greedy or you don't mind, put both Velma and Soho and we'll enter you into both. It is really that simple. So just follow, like, comment, and then you're entered into the draw. And as per usual, Drew and I will draw that on next week's episode live. Yep. So you'll have to tune in to find out if you're the winner then. But I cannot understand why anyone wouldn't want to win the tickets. I'm annoyed because Drew's going to remind me that we're not allowed to enter. So I'm going to have to stump up my cash and come along myself. But anyone out there, please do enter. Incredibly generous prizes. Thank you so much, Julianne, for giving us those.
They're going to be great shows as well. So it's definitely worth entering, and just come back and enjoy some live entertainment. Let's get it going.
Absolutely. It's so important. As much as we're desperate to get out there and perform, there must be hundreds and thousands of people out there who are desperate to come and watch some live theatre again, or be in a theatre and be immersed with incredible music, singing, dancing, whatever all goes in together. We've missed it massively from both sides. So this is just a further opportunity. Yes, no one's been working quite as much as they'd like to over the past year or whatever. So why not win the tickets and save yourself a few quid? Nice and easy. But please do come and support. And if you don't win, just buy tickets anyway and come along, because as Julianne said, these shows are incredible. I've worked with various people who are performing in both. I've seen all the performers before. They are superb. It's going to be just, I cannot wait for the rest of this year, not just from a performer's point of view, but as an audience member, because I think there's going to be some incredible stuff that has been sort of kept held away because we haven't been able to show it to the world. And it's just going to kind of jump out there, and we're going to have an amazing rest of the year for theatre. Fingers crossed. So
we're going to explode again. There's always something we do when we get guests on, and I'm going to ask you, is there? It's anecdote time. I wish I hadn't sung. Then I really do.
So do we, mate. But carry on.
It must be. I mean, funny, tragic, highlight, whatever. Is there something that I mean, we always do funny ones, but is there a highlight, something that you can, give us an anecdote, Julianne? Put you on the spot immediately.
I think probably the first one that jumps to my mind is since the venue opened, we had quite a lot of burlesque shows that were hosted by a performer called Joe Black, who was in this year's Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race. And they're an amazing performer, but they would host the show, sing and play the piano throughout, and then invite all the different burlesque and cabaret performers on stage. And there was a time when they were coming back out on stage from the dressing room, and they had a very tight sort of long dress with a sort of small hoop. And there's a few steps up to the back of the stage, and they just absolutely stacked it. And it was honestly, the crowd roared, and I don't know how the lighting and sound technician didn't sort of fall off his stool, because it went down an absolute treat. And then it was posted on sort of various social media for quite a while with the performer sort of they handled it very well, and the audience absolutely loved it. So a funny sort of unfortunate falling over. There's been quite a few people falling onto the stage, but that's probably the funniest one.
I worked, in fact, I was going to say I worked with a lovely drag act, but they were principal at my stag do many years ago. I was taken to a drag club at the end of the night, having had quite a few drinks during the day and a few more waiting for me. And I remember the highlight of and I think it's somewhere on YouTube, I'll regret saying this, but there is me singing I Want to Break Free with a fabulous drag performer, Martha Dartha. So if you want to hunt that out, you can just
definitely will. As soon as
if I can find it, it's going in the description of this podcast, and everyone will see it.
I know you'd say that. Brilliant stuff. So
go on, Drew. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say it's. I mean, I'm just so glad that we've met and someone has put a positive spin on everything kicking off again, and it's nice because Sam and I have been variously grumbling or being positive about the future, but it's so nice to meet someone else that's going, yes, we got something to look forward to.
Yeah, no, it's great to, be on the show and talk to you both. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Everyone's had a very challenging year. So, let's forget that, but, appreciate stuff going forward and make sure that we make the most out of everything.
Yay.
Of course. Absolutely. And that's why we started out doing this. We wanted to make the general public aware that just because things have stopped doesn't mean it will all just pick straight back up again without any effort. But at the same time, we need this support throughout. So when we do come back, we can come back and be bigger and better than ever. And
sure.
The insight you've given us today just shows that it has been a massive battle, but there are lots of people out there who are fighting this battle and won't let it stop. They won't give in. And we will come out the other side as performers, as venues, as techies, as whatever, just feeling so much more positive and just we'll get back into the life that we knew and hopefully even surpass it. So that's what we're waiting for. We need the support of the general public. We need people out there to help us through this and to be there when we do come back. It's as much as supporting your small local businesses who are shops or whatever. This is the same sort of thing. It's not just a case of, right, the West End's open, let's all go to the massive shows. Look at your local venues as well and really do support them too, because you never know, you might find a gem like you will with the Stage Door. So
yeah. And I think, just to encourage people to, know that it is safe. Venues are putting in everything in place to make it a safe environment for people to come and visit. So don't be put off and come and see it or enjoy a bit of entertainment again.
What a lovely way to end it. Thank you so much. Brilliant. But thank you again for coming on and speaking to everyone. It's been wonderful having you. And also thank you so much again for the amazing competition prizes. Ladies and gentlemen at home, please do enter. But Julianne, it's been wonderful to see you. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you at the venue very soon.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, we'll be there. We'll definitely be there.
See you both soon.
Take care, Julianne. Lovely to meet you. Take care. Bye. Bye. Absolutely right, mate. What a lovely lady.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Told you.
Really nice. I'm so glad we met. I mean, after all the chats that we've had about keeping going, I mean, what have venues had to do? I mean, she's just soldiered on and made everything work.
Well, this is it. And as much as you and I have been very much involved in the performance side of things and knowing how much the unwelcome guest has affected us, it's been eye-opening to know just what they've had to go through and so good to know that important venues have come out the other side and cross fingers will be back to where they once were. So
I mean, like you say, I mean, it's not only, we've been just got ourselves and, family to look after. She's got a whole venue, staff, performers that have had to cancel, and giving money back and all that sort of thing. But to come back and go, yeah, we can do this, we can plan and have a timetable of stuff. Yeah. A calendar of stuff to come up. I mean, what I wrote, I wrote down, I've got here. I mean, what she got in May, they've got Dawn's Ritzy Titsy Tea Party. I mean, if that doesn't make you want to go anyway, the title, but what unlimited cocktails and drag artists, I'd go. I'd go.
Oh, yeah, that's first on our list then. What are we going to next once we've done that one?
Well, of course, then we've got Velmacelli in June. Soho Cinders in July.
Yeah.
And then Kerry Ellis with Velmacelli in August. So there's a whole load of stuff.
To think that they've managed to kind of organise these things or got them almost ready to go despite everything going on. It's incredible. And some unbelievable shows there to go and see. Don't miss it.
Brilliant. I mean, to think as well, I mean, not only you've got to think numbers. I mean, we don't know we hope we can predict when things are going to change. But if as a venue, you've got to think, okay, how many people can I get in? How can I arrange this? And can I afford it? And she's managed to make it work, And what Julianne didn't talk about, because I have discovered after this chat that she is a very self-effacing, very humble lady, and I've read in the past, and is her connection with Southampton Pride. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
They've had that connection since 2016, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, good 5 years.
And this year again they're involved. And for anybody that is interested, that Southampton Pride is on the 28th of August. So Stage Door and Julianne, etc., are going to be heavily involved in that. So to have that upward
huge amounts of things and has so much involvement, and then she's one of the stars of the industry, and it was just so brilliant to chat to her. So
I think she's great. Yeah, she has got so much coming up.
Absolutely.
And talking of things coming up,
segue.
Now I have to say, and I mean, I'm really, I'm very kind to you. You're, a dear friend. And I hope you're not going to be offended by saying you are really rocking the Keanu Reeves look today, mate. You really are. It's cracking, It's
well, do you know, I'm my other half is probably just she can't bear the fact that I haven't had a haircut for so long. So I think she is counting down the days, not till she can see me next, but till I get a bloody haircut. So I know obviously hairdressers are now open. I'm going to wait for it to die down a little bit, I think, before I venture that way. But no, I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you, mate.
It is a compliment, mate. He's a very wonderful human being and a very talented actor.
Indeed.
So as another talented actor and wonderful human being, come on, don't keep me in suspense. What are you doing?
So more script work, learning scripts for the 2 feature films that I've got starting filming over the summer. One I believe is starting in July, the other in August. So exciting things there. More voiceover work. I've actually completed the recording side of the audiobook of second volume of the Wasteland Road Nights. So now on to the editing part, which, as you know, is the bloody long bit. But
the long slog.
There's light at the end of the tunnel, getting there, and hopefully book 2 will be out very soon. Exciting stuff. What about you, mate?
I've got a little bit of finished filming the movie that we've been rehearsing and I've been talking about for weeks, but that finishes filming. And then I'm fairly gentle then. My wife and I have got some events that we've been talking about, this new venue, so we'll be planning and working on those. And just get back to a little bit of normality for a while, and of course, recording with your wonderful self,
Yeah, we've got a few fun things coming up.
We've got a few fun things coming up, yeah. Absolutely. So that's me. And as well as that, I will I'll be looking over the rules for the competition to see whether I can enter or not.
But mate,
I can't,
you're not allowed.
Well, can me mum enter then?
Your mum can enter. You never know. If you've been a good boy, you could be a +1 if she wins.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But no, absolutely. 2 incredible competition prizes.
Brilliant.
We're so very lucky. Thank you again, Julianne, for giving us these prizes. But just to remind everyone at home that you should be entering, and we know you will be entering, but to do that, nice and simple, make sure you're, number 1, subscribe to the podcast and listen to this episode. Number 2, make sure you follow both the Stage Door Southampton and us, Drewling Samantics, on Instagram. Find the post for this episode, so it'll be a picture of mine and Drew's ugly mugs and the lovely Julianne as well. And like that post and then comment underneath. If you want to win the 4 tickets to Velma Telly's show, please comment Velma. If you want to win the pair of tickets to Soho Cinders, comment Soho. If you want to be greedy or want a double chance of winning, then put both Velma and Soho. Simple as that. And as said, Drew and I will draw out the winners on next week's show.
Random number time again. Random number.
Yeah. And we'll see if we can make it a bit more slick this time, although you've shown today that perhaps you and technology don't mix particularly well.
I'm never ever unplugging my laptop ever again.
It's now going to become a desktop because it's no longer portable.
No, I'm not. No. I'm just going to sit here until the next time we record. In fact, that's how my week's going. I'm just going to sit here until the next recording date.
You're going to slowly sink into the sofa. You're going to merge with it. But at least the wife will know where to find you.
Yeah, everyone will. Yeah, you'll know where I am. I'm here.
But on that note, mate, I look forward to finding you back on that sofa.
Absolutely, mate.
Time. Can't wait to catch up. Again, ladies and gents at home, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed listening to Julianne as much as we've enjoyed having her on the show. And get entering the competition. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. and you'll get lots of sort of extra content. We do post fairly regularly on all the other social medias, and we're on YouTube as well if you want to look at our lovely faces, or if you don't, then stick with the podcast. It's probably much easier. And don't forget also to follow and like everything that the Stage Door does as well. All the details for the Stage Door and all the social medias are in the podcast description too. So
absolutely.
Until next time, Drew.
Sam, what can I say? I'll see you and Keanu next week then.
Absolutely. Cheers, mate. See you soon. Thanks, everyone at home. Bye.
Care. All the best. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks again for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then please consider subscribing and you'll get notified every time a new episode is released. The podcast is available on all good platforms or directly through our RSS feed. Just check the podcast details.
You can also find us on all popular social media, and you can even watch us on YouTube, although why you'd want to look at Drew's face is a mystery to me. Again, all our social media links and handles are in the podcast details.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends, and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.